again, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk Youth Ministry with Josh and Caleb. Caleb, we have to address something for a second. We are not completely where we said we were going to be last episode.
Nope.
As you can see behind us, it's just our office. We are not at Lads to Leaders. And there's a reason for that. Caleb, tell them why.
So, through technical difficulties beyond our control, we are now recording this episode for the fourth time. We started off at Lads to Leaders at the convention literally at midnight, Josh. We were recording at midnight and did not stop until about, 12:45 in the morning?
Yeah, close to 1.
And when we went back to look at it, the last 15 minutes of the episode was just a blue screen. The video file had corrupted. So we were like, all right, whatever. We'll just re-record it when we get back because there's no time in between. Both of us were busy with our youth groups and everything, and there just wasn't a good time to record. Then that next Monday morning, we were able to uncorrupt the video file, but it was of a lesser quality. It was very grainy. It wasn't good. So then we re-recorded English, Caleb.
English, come on, dude.
And it's gone. I don't know where it went.
It gone again.
In somewhere in the cloud, it's gone. So this is our fourth time recording. And Josh, are you ready to answer these for the upteenth time?
Yeah, so this episode, just letting everyone know as well, my camera, it keeps going blurry. I don't know why, but it's kind of bothering me. But you know what? It is what it is. We're going to get through it together, hopefully. Hopefully it will turn back on in just a second. But this episode is really just about me answering questions about Lads to Leaders, pretty much.
It's a Q&A with Josh and... All right, Josh, you have been involved in Lads to Leaders pretty much your whole life. What has been your earliest memory of the Lads to Leaders convention?
So, like Caleb said, excuse me, I've been part of Lads to Leaders probably since I was about 3 or 4. Obviously, you can't really start Lads to Leaders until you're in pre-K, first grade, that kind of age. But my earliest memory of Lads to Leaders was probably walking in and seeing just how many people there were and being overwhelmed. There was kids everywhere with their suits on because, back then, everyone wore suits, especially as a kid. Your parents want to dress you up. Kids are in their suits, girls are in their dresses, people are practicing speeches everywhere they can. Families are cheering them on in the hallways. This is all going on. And I remember thinking one day, eventually, that's going to be me. I was ready for my time. And I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I knew that there was something special about it. And, yeah, I don't know. That was probably my earliest memory, is just wanting to be involved.
That's awesome. Looking back, is there a particular event or year that stands out as the monument year? That's your favorite?
Yeah. I have a lot of great memories of Lads. Are you asking for my favorite memory or my most memorable?
Yeah, your favorite. And to go along that, why did it make it so special?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say there's 3. I can't really just keep them out. I remember very early on we had a food room, and somehow, some way, something got broken off inside of one of the plugs, and it was mass chaos. I don't remember the story behind it, but that's all I remember is something got broken in the plug, and everything went to chaos. The second thing I remember, I can't really explain this one. If you want to know, you can ask me in person, and then I will be glad to tell you. But it involves a youth minister, a youth kid, and a handful of the Orange's Cuties.
That's oddly specific, but okay.
It's very specific, but if you want to know, you can ask me later. But I think the one year that really sticks out to me the most, I'm going to step on some feet a little bit, and that's okay. I'm stepping on my own feet. growing up doing speech at Lads to Leaders, you don't always write your speech. That's a given. And your parents help you over time, but it's not a bad thing that your parents are writing your speech. They're teaching you how to write your speech. So I remember the first year that I finally wrote my speech, finally wrote my own. I was so proud of it. I placed that year. I ended up getting second. I was a finalist, ended up getting second. I'm not going to lie. Working that hard on it, I expected to get first. I was disappointed that I didn't get first. But while we're standing on stage, the guy who got first place, while we're walking off the stage, looked at me. And I don't know why he did it. I never asked. But he looked at me and said, "You should have won this first place trophy. I did not deserve it." He didn't have to say that, but he did. And that moment really just has stuck with me ever since because it told me that, look, it wasn't a reward to him. He had a lot of humility and kindness that he showed, knowing that I should have won it. And I don't know. It just really stuck with me because that's a memory that will stick more than me than a trophy that will sit on a shelf the rest of my
Yeah, yeah,
life.
that's awesome. How did Lads to Leaders help mold you into the person you are today?
Lads to Leaders. I've been a fan of Lads to Leaders on and off for years. There's sometimes when I got older that I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I still here? Other times I was really excited. But Lads to Leaders has taught me not only to serve with humility, but also serve with a purpose. It's helped me develop skills that I use every single day here in my youth ministry job. Public speaking, reading scripture, leading song leading, working with a team, encouraging others. That's what my ministry is. More than that, it helped shape my faith because it pushed me out of my comfort zone. It pushed me to dive deep into the word and to figure out a speech, a 6 minute speech, and write a 6 minute speech. So it wasn't just about learning the Bible, it was learning also how to live it, I guess you would say, how to be able to explore the Bible.
Yeah. Do you remember a moment at the convention that challenged you or pushed you out of your comfort zone? And how did you grow from that?
Absolutely. Um, I'll never forget the first time that I started leading a song. So shout out to David Sweeney, he was on our last week's episode, and Gary McKnight, who is one of your elders. Both of them have taught me since I was little to do song leading. And I remember the first time that it was time to do song leading at Lads, I was absolutely terrified. I've practiced hundreds of times, I've practiced in front of my family, but when it was my turn, my heart was absolutely pounding. But once I started, there was this. I guess I never really noticed it in the time, but I guess you would say there was a sense of relief that came over me, knowing that I successfully started my song, and then everyone kind of just went with me, knowing that, hey, I guess you would say, as a little kid, knowing that you were in control and that you were successfully leading, it reminded me that, yeah, you may have a little bit of nerves going on, but people are going to be there to back you up. That moment really showed me how to step out of my comfort zone. Obviously, as a little kid, I didn't know that then. But looking back on it, on all the memories that I had that first time, it really showed me that pushed me out of my comfort zone. And then, of course, speeches later pushed me even more out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Who were the mentors or leaders in your life who had the biggest impact on you through the Lads to Leaders program?
I have several people that I can give thanks to. I could sit here for hours and do that. But to keep it short, obviously my mom and my dad. They are my biggest supporters. They've always supported me through thick and thin. They have helped me for everything. They were my biggest supporters when it came to moving out. Well, I think moving out and becoming a youth minister. There's two sides of that. I think mom was ready just to get me out of the house, but um, and all joking aside, when I told them I was ready to be a youth minister, they couldn't be more happy of me. So obviously they're big on my mentors. Jared Gott, your co-youth minister, he has pushed me beyond compare when it came to getting out of my comfort zone. David Sweeney, Gary McKnight, um, Bonnie Hendricks, Randall Hendricks. Um, those are just a couple that come to my mind that have challenged me over the years to be better at Lads to Leaders. These people have shaped me, have helped me. It didn't matter with what it was, whether it was refining a speech, encouraging me to try something new, or just reminding me to keep my focus on Christ. They always invested in me, and they always wanted to see me grow. And I carry their advice with me, especially now in ministry. And all those people that I mentioned will constantly text me, asking me how I'm doing. So they're more than just a mentor to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a friend. They're a, you know.
Yeah.
If you could if you could have some advice for someone who is just starting out in Lads to Leaders for the very first time, what would your encouragement to that person be?
Ooh, good question. Um, I'd say have fun and try everything. Have fun and try everything. But also to go along with that, don't be afraid to mess up. Lads to Leaders is about growth. It's not about perfection. I know nowadays you go to Lads to Leaders, and I saw it a lot this year. You're sitting in a room with speech, and these kids have their speech memorized. You know, granted, that's impressive. I give it to you, and I was the same way. I wanted to memorize my speech. But even in song leading, people would get up there without a song and a song sheet in their hand and lead this song, and that's awesome. But what I noticed about every single one of them that didn't use any type of help is when they messed up, they got upset. It's not about perfection. I know you want to be perfect and that kind of stuff, but that's not what it's about. It's about growth. It's about learning. Every time you get up and try, it didn't matter what it was, whether it's a puppet show, giving a speech, reading scripture, leading song leading, you're getting stronger in your faith. You are growing. I know it looks like you have to be perfect and you have to have everything go smoothly, but if something goes wrong, you shouldn't sit there and feel bad about it because you're getting stronger in your faith and you're getting closer to God at the end of the day. And you're getting stronger in something so eventually you can lead in the church. That's the whole point of Lads to Leaders. It's in the name. Lads to Leaders. Like it's in the name itself. We are teaching our kids that are at our church how to one day, like we talked about in the another episode, that they are the church of today. That's what we've talked about. And that's what Lads to Leaders is about. We're teaching them how to be able to serve inside the church. So give it their best. You know, that's what I would say. Give it your best. If you have something you're more comfortable doing, then do it. If you'd rather do speech and song leading, then do it and give your all in that and get near to perfection when it comes to that.
Yeah,
That's all I can really say about that, I guess. I don't know if that's the answer you wanted, but that's
that's
what you
awesome.
got.
That's awesome. Thank you, Josh. Well, for our viewers, this is all we got. Thank you, Josh, for this. This has been great.
I'm gonna,
Um,
I'm gonna throw in an audible for you, Caleb. Sorry, got a lot of
he's a little
mucus going on.
hoarse. He needs
Huh?
some water.
Water. Yeah. No, I got Mr. Pibb. Sponsor me. Um, an audible. This was both of our first years as the leader of our group. Um, for people who are watching, what is something that you learned?
So I have never attended Lads to Leaders before. Um, in in my life, this was my first experience with this. Um, so really, what I learned was just what the organization is. Um, I mean, I had heard, everybody has their opinion on everything, right? And so I've heard every opinion there is. And so, one of the things that I really tried to do was put all of those opinions aside and just objectively look at what the organization is and what it's trying to do. And so for me, the biggest thing that I learned was about the organization and how it helps mold our young people and train our young people. And so that's really what I learned. And I've also learned that the puppet corner of the Nashville convention, that little bitty hallway for like 1,000 people walking through, that's a madhouse. That's the only time in that whole convention that I got claustrophobic. And I don't get claustrophobic. But I did then.
For the people that's watching, that is the canal area. That's the third floor. If you've been to Lads Leaders,
In Nashville.
You know what we're talking about. But it's been a great episode. I'm thankful for this episode. I'm thankful for this past weekend at Lads Leaders. Thankful for Kaleb for being there as well, doing this episode. That's all we got for you today. Until next time.
Bye!
Ah!